Welcome, guys, to the Talking with Angels podcast. I'm Justin Woolwine.
I'm Pops, Clayton Woolwine.
How we doing, Pops?
I'm doing good, doing good. Had a crazy day. Didn't get everything done that I desired to get done,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still a blessed day. Real busy. Still got a lot to do. Kids start back to school tomorrow, so we got that going on.
You excited they're going back to school?
Yeah, I am because for my own health, just being able to go to the gym, be able to eat right,
Okay.
meditate, do some yoga.
Not deal with three hormonal
Well,
teenagers.
just have that time.
Okay.
Just that time. I believe a relationship with your higher power or God or whatever you want to call it is very valuable. I spend a lot of time in my day wandering off and spending time with God.
Mhm.
So when the kids are there all the time,
It's just hard.
that's way harder to have that close relationship. And it's God wants me to be there with the kids. I'm well aware, but He also needs to tell me things He needs to tell me, or it needs to send me signals
Okay.
that I need to receive. You know what I mean?
Of course. Um, let's dive in deep.
But before we even get started,
Okay.
we're talking about addiction, and it touches me because I've lost a lot of people,
Agreed.
and some of those people I might even have been partially to blame. I wouldn't say partially to blame, but I contributed to the factors that might.
Maybe
Yes,
with
right, right, right.
with.
That's what I'm getting
Okay.
at. That's what I'm getting at. Or most people might not know, but I sold drugs for many years, so I might have sold some of them drugs to people. Uh, and so at that point, I just want to start off and say for any of that I've ever partaked in, we're all grown ups. We all make our own decisions, but I am sorry. Uh, for that, I want to get that off my chest. I don't regret any of it because I wouldn't be who I am.
Okay.
But the people that I've lost,
Or been affected by it.
or have other people that have been affected by it, anybody like that, I just want to tell them I'm sorry. And I was blind. I didn't know. Uh, and then with addiction being the topic, I just want to say a little quick prayer for everybody. You know, Heavenly Father, Most High, One True God, for everybody out there that is suffering or battling with this, or has somebody they know or love that is battling with this, we just ask that you lay your hands on them and heal them, uh, and bring them back. And in Yeshua's name, thank you.
Thank you.
I also just want to say too, in that a lot of people don't know. My belief is I used to think that addiction came from like mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mental illness, and I've since found out that that might not be the case. I would rather say it's spiritual illness.
Okay.
I think they're not listening to the spirit, and maybe the spirit scares them, so they use the the drugs to activate them endorphins to make them not have to think and not have to tune into them spiritual battles.
Okay.
And so I think then once you get used to covering up all that and doing it, it becomes a habit. And that's where addiction comes from. So, in that being said, I don't think you can treat addiction at a doctor's office or a hospital or rehab facility. I think you have to treat it within yourself, because if not, it's like cancer. They'll give you something to treat it, but they won't cure it. And I don't believe you're curing your drug addiction by going to some cult like places telling you what to think, what to do. And I'm not saying that against it. I'm saying anybody that's got clean and sober that way, more power to it. but
Are you
they all
saying maybe there was more to it than just, hey, they told you to do these 12 steps?
right. Well, okay.
And
My thing is, they say once you're an addict, you're always an addict,
okay.
and I don't believe that to be true. I believe once you're healed, and you heal the root cause of the problem, which is the what most people would say mental health issues, but they could be spirit. I think it's more of a spiritual health issue. Your relationship with God, because I think once you get that relationship with God, He's going to remove all that for you, or that the frequency of God will remove all that out of your life.
Okay.
But in my experiences,
Gotcha.
personal experiences, but as far as like drugs go, since I can remember, they've been a part of my life, and I know they've been a part of yours.
Agreed.
I can remember one of the first pictures I had on a red bandana. I was probably 2 years old, and I'm sitting on hay bales of marijuana with a Budweiser in between my legs. And so that was everybody in the house was always drinking and partying, and they were having a great time. Like a great, they were turning up. And so I always wanted to grow up and
Turn up.
turn up.
Okay.
And so that's how it started. And for me, I mean, I grew up in a house with a family of people who drank and did other drugs, lots of marijuana, probably cocaine, uh, acid, stuff like that. So I was always around it growing up. So it became normal. Uh, I can remember growing up and I couldn't have kids come stay at the house because of the weed plants. You know what I mean? Like they didn't want, or because they were selling coke, they didn't want no. You know what I mean? So I remember things like that. I'm sure you do too, because I know there's things that with even the kids that y'all have seen and y'all been a part of that wasn't necessary. That was completely unnecessary.
Agreed. Agreed. Before we carry on, I'm gonna go back to the beginning when you apologized. I just want to say, as somebody that was affected by it, I appreciate it. Because I don't know if I've ever heard you say sorry
Well,
for it.
well,
But give me a second.
okay.
Okay. So, and not, you didn't ever really do anything. You took very good care of me as a kid, and you did your best to keep me away from it. Obviously, I wasn't the dumbest kid, so I understood what was going on to an extent. Um, but as a kid, I just thought that was my normal, which just in the apology, I thank you, because not everybody will accept that apology.
Oh, and I don't care.
And I
The
know it's not
apology
about
wasn't
that.
for nobody else. It was for me
It's for you
and
and
God.
him, and just to clear that air. And I just want to tell
Well,
you,
God.
as your son, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad that I could share that. And I, because okay, so like I'm not. I just know that I affected people, and I wish I knew now what I knew. If I could have, if I could, you know what I mean. I don't have no regrets, and I wouldn't change anything because we wouldn't be here doing this right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to put that out there that I know there's a lot of people that I grew up with that I party with all the time that are no longer here. Uh, I know a couple of my children's other parents are struggling really bad with it, and I know it affects them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm married, and like we said on the last one, you know, she is with someone else because of addiction, and I've seen what it's put my daughter and my son through. Uh, Not having their mom, them her, you know what I mean, putting that addiction over them. Like you said, I really wasn't one to put addiction over my kids most of the time. There was a time when I was physically dependent on heroin. I snorted heroin, and I would snort $250 worth of heroin a day, and I couldn't get out of bed without it. That's the only time I've ever been physically dependent on anything besides cigarettes. Uh, Now the other stuff, it was I was covering up my own self doubt, my own victim mentality, my own blaming the world for my situation. I was covering all that up. And I'm not an addict because, for instance, okay, I'll be completely honest. If anything, I'm California sober because I smoke a lot of marijuana. But God gave us marijuana. I don't take no Xanaxes, no Vicodin, no none of that, because those were the drugs that got me on the heroin. What was the prescription drugs that the doctors gave me? So I don't take nothing if God don't prescribe it. Uh, and even with like heroin and coke, they come from the earth. God provided those plants. Used properly, they could be medication, but once altered by man and put into the drug form, cut up, all that, then it's not the same. So I don't advise them. You know what I mean? I don't advise it for nobody. Uh, but marijuana helps me cope with PTSD and lots of other things. And I feel healthier smoking the marijuana over taking benzos or antidepressants than anything else. I just think it's a whole game changer. And then I went through the Suboxone and methadone stuff, and that's a trap too. So we'll get into that in the next
Yeah,
episode, though, all that.
the
But
recovery
I'm just kind of
process.
putting it out there that, like, I'm not hypocritical. Some people would probably say I'm hypocritical to get on here and talk about drugs and addiction and still smoke weed. And look, I'm not even gonna lie. Before I do anything, I ask God. So if I'm with a bunch of people and they're having drinks and partying, I'll pray about it and ask God if I should do it. And if God says, you know what, you deserve a good time, go ahead and have a good time. I have a good time. And then the next day I wake up, I feel like crap, and I realize why I don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I believe people can recover from addiction and on their own terms deal with God and figure out what is acceptable in their life or not. You know what I mean? I believe every case is a case by case individual conversation with your creator. But feel like that relationship with the creator is what removes those type of problems.
Okay. What do you think led you down the path of addiction?
Well, the first thing I was addicted to wasn't drugs.
Okay.
It was money.
Okay.
It was,
Very
as you see on the shirt, it was
a lot of
money.
money. Go ahead.
Uh, so it started out, we as kids, and I didn't have shit. My mom worked all the time, 16-hour days, so I was kind of free to do what I want. My grandmother was dying of cancer, so I helped take care of her, but I ran around do what I want. My dad lived a couple doors down. He drank all the time. A great man. Love him with all my heart. Taught me more than I ever knew he even taught me until after he was gone. But he couldn't deal with the spiritual battle. They call alcohol spirits because you're letting spirits in. Uh, you're letting in spirits. In the same way when you do drugs. Hi, Alex. I love you, buddy. The same, the same time when you do drugs, you're letting spirits in,
Mm-hmm.
and you're letting your guard down. So, like going back to what I said about praying to God before I indulge in something, I make sure I'm in a safe place where I feel comfortable, to where I know what spiritual battles I'm getting myself into.
Okay.
The people I'm with. Uh, like I'm not gonna go with somebody that I know has a problem with me or might harbor any ill will or resentment or past whatever and go and indulge in alcoholic beverages or narcotics around them because that's opening me up for that conflict.
Setting yourself up
You're
for
setting
failure.
yourself up for failure. So, in that being said, that's why it is on a individual, like, occasion by occasion basis. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's times I'll be around people and they'll be partying or whatever, and they'll want me to indulge, and it's instantly no. Like, this isn't going to turn out good. I can see, but I pray about it. I ask God. And so I just think if more people would listen to that voice and get the spiritual healing for the spiritual illness, because a lot of people say it's mental illness, and I don't believe it to be mental illness. I believe it's a spiritual disconnection, because when you're young, everybody tells you that God is something up in the clouds. You know what I mean? So that connection you have with Him, they disconnected from the jump. If you're crazy or you're, you know what I mean? And I just believe that if you're tuned into something, it's kind of like a radio, and something's broadcasting a signal, and our consciousness picks it up. I don't think our consciousness is a part of this meat vessel. I think it's being beamed into it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So,
What's up, Isaac?
hey, buddy, I love you. Congratulations on Marshall. But I even, like, I just know a lot of people was affected by the drugs. Like, so I started out with the money. We'd cut grass, we'd do work all the time, but I just wanted money because in school everything everybody had something, and then there's the poor kids and you don't have nothing. And I can remember when it broke, I was in like 6th grade, and they took all the poor kids in the class to this place, Charleston Department Store. They're like, we're gonna buy all y'all outfits, start of the school, we're gonna buy all y'all outfits, new shoes, everything. And so, like, I ain't never had a pair of Nikes in my life. And I'm in 6th grade. Never seen a pair of Nikes. So they buy us some Nike flights, and they buy us all these Levi's stuff and everything. And each one of us had like a chaperone that took us around shopping. And so it's all in shopping bags. Like, nobody knows what everybody got till the next morning when we all show up to school and we're all wearing the exact same fucking thing. Like, every one of us, although it's like they label, you know what I mean? Right from the jump, it was like a setup. And so at that point, being embarrassed because I'm wearing the same thing as the pissy kid in class. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And he's wearing the same thing as the kid that drools on himself.
right. And so it was like, at that point, I had to start figuring out how to do it myself because my mom couldn't afford it. And my dad, he lived 2 doors down, but he drank all the time. And he had work, he was washing dishes or doing whatever. He had done giving up, pretty much. He just took care of his people, his dad and his brothers, helped them. And he had given up on, like, because his family was gone. So I understood. But at the time I didn't. But so at that point, I found out my mom and her friends was all buying a bunch of weed at work where she worked. She worked at this nursing home. They was all buying weed. And they was paying like outrageous money for it, like $225 an ounce. And I was getting them for like 45. You know what I'm saying? So it was like simple math. So I can remember at like 13 years old, my mom writing a check for my first half a pound of marijuana from the weed dude. So I can start selling weed, and it went real well. It went great. And then time passed, and we started doing other stuff to make money, like more money, more money. We was I don't even know. We would go around. We wouldn't go to school. I'd sell weed at school. Had a gun, carried it to school. But how I got the gun, we would go around, and if somebody went home, we'd take what we wanted. And got to a point where we'd take whatever we want, wherever we wanted. We was addicted to money, all of us, all the little poor kids that I ran around with. Uh, and so it becomes selling drugs. And then once you sell drugs, you become popular. Everybody likes you because you got money and you're dressing nice
and you got drugs.
And you got drugs. They love drugs, and all the girls love the drugs, and everybody loves the drugs. So At that point, it become partying just to
Maintain.
well, no,
No.
like living like a rock star.
Well,
Like
that's what I mean. Maintain a lifestyle.
yeah, it was maintaining a lifestyle and drinking. Like I mean, there was nights we'd drink. Like they had 20 packs of like Budweiser, and we'd drink like three big half a gallons of liquor and 6 20 packs of Budweiser. You know, like so we just partied all the time, and that was just the way. And we grew up in Charleston, West Virginia, so it's a small, nothing to do place. Everybody, that's what they do, and everybody's parents do it, and it's handed down. It's like a tradition uh, for a lot of people. And so the first was money, and then the money aspect, before you know it, you're getting busted or you're getting in trouble, or the police park outside your house and do their paperwork so you can't make no money. Just stupid stuff like that. Like you was always dealing with all this trauma. Like people trying to rob you, gotta get a gun. Uh I can remember people coming in my house and my mom chasing them out with a stick with a knife on it. Like I can remember giant parties and giant fights breaking out, people almost dying, so many car wrecks I can't count. People getting shot and killed. Friend of mine got robbed for his coat, killed, murdered. Jermaine Pope, shout out Pope, rest in peace. Uh, just a lot of different stuff. He was going to a party I was supposed to go with, and I didn't go. There was just a lot, like a lot of it. So it was culture. It was the culture. And then once you start making money off of it, can't nobody tell you shit. Like, and the whole time I knew I was meant to be doing something else. So the whole time my spirit's telling me, you're better in this, you're better in this. And the whole time I'm drowning my spirit out by taking more drugs to release them endorphins so I don't have to hear it. And that's where the addiction part comes in, or I wasn't addicted to drugs. I was addicted to shutting that voice out. Like I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it tell me, hey, you're fucking up. Hey, you're these guys are gonna tell on you. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to hear none of that. None of that. But God guided me up. I sold drugs for the time I was 13 till I was in my 20s, late 20s. And God guided me through all of that. And I've been very blessed as far as the amount of trouble I've been in. So like I remember being in the car with this guy that was wearing a wire on me. I knew he was wearing a wire, and God told me get out and go, and I got out and gone. He ended up getting me and busting me. They ended up busting me, and I had a big altercation, drug charges and stuff. But God was warning me, trying to stop me from, and I didn't listen. I still messed with the dude. I ended up going to jail. You know what I mean? So God's always been there, and I just think if people would cut out listening to all the outside voices and tune into the inside one, that they would be in a better situation.
Okay. Um, something that like I guess growing up that was always, I don't want to say interesting, but I mean it kind of is now that I really think about it. Was how I mean when I lived, obviously well, for those who don't know, you and my mom were separated.
Right.
My mom was way out there with the addiction, whether it's drinking or whatever else she did. I really couldn't tell you what all else she did because she was pretty good at hiding it.
Yeah.
Other than just being nodding out all the time.
Yeah.
But like, so I go there and it's crazy because she's not present ever.
Yeah.
And then I come to your house and the party's on and all the time, but you're present. Even while the party's on, you're present. You're playing with me. We're watching wrestling. I'm
You're
part of the party without partying.
Right. Well, see that okay. I don't mean to cut you off, but that right there was why I was so easily taken in by it.
Okay.
Because when I was your age, like when you was that age, I was the same way. Like they're having keg parties and they're paying me to get them beers and
Exactly.
they're
When you walk out of a party
right.
with $300,
They're like,
you
hey,
done.
should I bet this hand? Should I bet this hand? If we win 500, and I'll throw you 50. You know what I mean? Like that's the things I was doing with growing up.
Yes.
So I understand. I understand, and that wasn't the proper example either for me to lead. But I'll be honest. Look, I can remember in your teenage years, during like what the only thing I would ever say I was really addicted to, like I said, was the opioids and the opiate, because it's a physical dependency. And I can remember having to have you go meet my plug.
Yeah.
So I could get up.
Agreed.
So like I'm not proud of none of that. You know what I mean? But those things, looking back, the guilt that put on me at the time is might have been one of the things that helped drive me to want something better.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? Most people, when they're in addiction too, they don't want to face all the grimy, nasty shit they did. Do you see what I'm saying? Like they'd rather just stay in addiction to where they never have to hear about none of that grimy, fucked up shit they did.
Well, and I think that's going back to my mother. I think that's one of the many reasons she's still in the place she's in is
Right,
because, then you'd have to wake up and realize what you've done for the last 25 years,
Uh,
where
I
you've been.
I just want to tell
that
all them
long.
people like, wake up, it's time to come home. Like
Yeah,
you
well, and
know, what I
that's
mean?
something I've told her
People,
is like,
you're
look, I don't
forgiven.
care
You're
what you've
forgiven.
done,
Come home.
what you
know what I
haven't
mean?
done,
Like,
where
yeah.
you've been. Just
Like you got people out there that care and love. Even like the people that have done me wrong, like during all my partying, all the everything, all the stuff that happened. Selling drugs, you run into a lot of fake, shady people. They're constantly trying to get you for something, trying to manipulate something, figure out an angle, uh, and that alone is traumatic. All that, like, so that builds up with trauma. Like my addiction didn't come until after the drug dealing. After, like, yes, I partied all the time. I was constantly messed up, but I wasn't hooked on. You know what I mean? I was doing it because it was there. I loved it, and I did it so I could keep selling it. You know what I mean? Like as far as like if you're selling cocaine, people's banging on your door at 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, all the way around the clock. You know what I mean? So you got to be present if you want to make money. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that's the way it was, and it's what I grew up in. But I think once I got older and I got in trouble, and at the time my PO was like, "Look, the feds or whatever, the police department have inquired about you multiple times. They're watching you. They know you're selling whatever. You need to stop." And so I called my PO up and was like, "Look, man, I got family in Illinois. I just want to leave. Can I leave?" And we left. We came out here, and at that point, it was right before that, even when I got busted and got put on paper or whatever. Um, I was doing coke so much that I was reporting daily to a day report center to do community service. I was wearing fake urine on my leg so I could pass the drug test. You know what I'm saying? And then after the cocaine thing, it died out, fizzled out, or whatever. It become pain pills, and those started. I didn't even like them. I take them, and they make me sick. But they had put me on prescription benzo pills that I was taking. First, it was a Valium, and then they put me on Klonopin. And so at that point, I was already taking pills, and then all my friends are on these pain pills. So, I started eating them every once in a while with them or taking them with them, snorting them with them, whatever, not thinking nothing of it, not knowing what opiates did. Like, I had no clue you get addicted to them, none of that. And then we moved out here, and at the time I was selling Oxycontin before we came out here, and I was doing Oxycontin, and those would have you so sick, like deathly ill every time you quit them. But I'd have to quit every month to go to the PO. So for 3 days every month, I was dope sick as shit. I go see the PO, and no sooner than I left the PO's office, in the hallway, I'm already rubbing the shit off the peel to and snort by the time I get out of the office. You know what I mean? Because it's the physical dependency. Like opiates is no joke. If that's one thing anybody ever stays away, like I won't even take. As you know, I burnt my hand all up, and I let them give me morphine and Dilaudid in the hospital one day. The next day, I wouldn't take it no more. You're not sending me home with no pain meds. You can use it to get me out of shock, and at that point, I'll deal with the pain. Like that's just the way it's got to be.
I am going to jump back a little bit. I guess my question where I was going with earlier is, did you do your best to try to hide what was going on because you knew what I was going to when I go to my mom's house?
Uh, well, no, that wasn't necessarily the reason why. When I was younger, I knew nothing was here for me, so I tried to keep all the drugs away from you because, as a person selling drugs, what I never wanted to happen was the police to interrogate you over my activities. My activities was to keep the lights on, was to keep the rent paid. Uh, yes, I partied all the time, but everything was paid. We ate nice dinners, we went out, and I worked two jobs. Like it wasn't like I just sat around and sold drugs all the time either. You know, I worked always. Like I said, I was addicted to money. And so
Okay. So once we make it up here into the Chicago area, um, when or what led you to your opioid addiction?
well, we was out here, and Nathaniel's mother had moved out here with us,
Okay.
and Nate was only like 6, 7 months old, 8 months old,
Yeah.
and when we moved out here, I brought a bag full of Oxycontin. Like I brought a bag, and I was like, "Look, these will last us till I get a job, and I'll get a job, and I'll find the drugs. Like, don't worry, girl, I got you. I'll find you some drugs. You know what I'm saying?" And I get a job, and I start working, and I'm finding like pain pills, and I'm bringing them back or whatever, and giving them to her. And then come and find out she stole all of the medication that was in the house that was belonged to somebody that we were staying with,
Mm-hmm.
and she got sent back to West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take the pain pills on occasions because I worked all the time, and I was, I was pretty beat up and traumatized over the years. By this time, I had liked them, but I wasn't taking like oxycontins no more. It was just like Vicodin and stuff like that. And then we lived with my mother and her husband, and her husband had gotten a bunch of prescriptions for a shoulder
So he has
injury.
shoulder surgery.
He has shoulder surgery, yes, but it was an injury that he had. Well, it's not neither here nor
That's
there.
yeah.
It's
Neither
neither here nor there. But anyway, he had an injury. He had shoulder surgery. He had a bunch of pain pills, and I was told, look, if you ever need any, just help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like they told me that. And then when his son come to visit or whatever, they gave him a bottle, and I never took none from him because of what happened with Nate's mom until his son come to visit. He gave him a whole bottle. And so I was like, screw it. You don't care. I'd ask my mom. I'd have you ask my mom. Like, hey, can I have a couple of those? And they'd give them to me. So I started taking them. And then it got to the point where I was buying them at work a lot. And I was taking them just to work. And like, if not, I was getting sick. And I could tell. I'm like, I got to get off these. Well, then we was in a giant car wreck.
Almost ended your life.
Almost ended my life. I was in a coma. Well, when I come out of a coma, the first thing I did, because like I was in this crazy coma and see my life flash and all this crazy stuff, and I come up out of it, and the first thing I did was like, where's my pants? I got this hose coming out of me, no pants. My pants has got all them pain pills in it. You know what I'm saying? So like the first thing in my mind was, yo, where's the, for one, I didn't want to get in trouble. I'm driving, I got a bunch of drugs in my pocket, got my kid with me, and I wanted to know where you were, but I didn't want to get caught with them. Like, so I was so traumatized from selling drugs my whole life that when I first opened my eyes, my first thought wasn't, Hey, I'm alive. Where's my kid?
Am
I going to jail for them pills? Was the first reaction. I hadn't sold drugs probably in 5 years at this point. Like I've been done. Well, I take it back because we would travel to West Virginia and I would go there, buy drugs there, and sell them there, and make more money and bring the money back.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't regularly selling drugs at this point.
It was seasonal.
It was seasonal. It was like a seasonal thing, right? So that started waking me up. You know what I mean? Like now looking back, those little things click. Like when I started to actually work on myself and get sober, those are little moments that will be part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I woke up and pills was gone. They had me on all kinds of stuff. They had me on a button, and they was giving me all these Vicodins on top of morphine, on top of Dilaudid, and just feeding it to me. And then I got these nasty headaches because I got a level 5 concussion. They said I should be dead, brain dead.
Well, and for details, you herniated several discs in your back.
Yeah,
I have a hole in your head.
Broken neck,
wire mesh,
broken neck, torn, whatever it is in your knee. I was really messed up. You was banged up. Banged up. Both my shoulders tore out of place. I was really messed up.
They put you back together.
Well, they didn't put me back together. They just kind of sent me home with a bunch of pain meds. They put my head back together.
Yes.
They didn't really do nothing else. I didn't do no other surgeries or nothing. I probably should have. I did some therapy.
Kind of just jumped up out of bed and went going.
Right. Well, that's another thing with addiction. You know, I smoked cigarettes at the time. So after waking up, I pull this thing out of me. And all the beepers go off, and the nurse comes running in, and she like drops to her knees and starts crying and praying. I'm like, what are you doing, bitch? Like, where's my pain pills? Where's my fucking cigarettes? And why don't I have pants on? And what's this hose doing that I just pulled out? I'm bleeding. Help me. Like, I'm going nuts. And she's like, look, she breaks it down to me. She's like, you were dead like 3 or 4 times. Like, you're not supposed to be here. We thought you was a vegetable. I'll ask closer.
And you're gone.
There ain't no way. They was ready to pull the plug on me. The doctor went to play golf, is what I was told. So he didn't sign off on it. And I woke up, and between the time he was golfing and the next day, it was already the next day, but it was the morning of the next day. I woke up. When he come in an hour or two and did rounds, he was going to tell them to take me off life support. You see what I'm saying? So that's how lucky I am. So, but it didn't stop nothing. Like, if anything, that made the drug problem
worse,
way worse. Because now I can't work. They won't let me go to work, so I can't support my kids. I got the guy who probably caused the car wreck by working on my car and doing shoddy mechanic work, even admitted to it afterwards. He admitted that he just threw it back together because he was mad at me over a cigarette that somebody else smoked in his house. Probably nearly killed me over it. But I had to go back and live in his basement, the man that nearly killed me, and watch them kind of raise my kids however in the hell they want. And I knew I hadn't turned out the greatest already. You know what I'm saying? So why am I going to let you ruin my children the way you fucked me up? Like, and his kid was no. So my opinion was, I'm not going to do it. And he started letting me have, they started prescribing me. It was like 90 Vicodin like twice a month, something crazy. It was crazy amounts. And on top of that, I was getting Percocets, and then I was on Xanax, and then gabapentin. I was on all this crazy shit for months and months and months. And then I go to see the doctor, and he's like, oh, you don't have insurance. I can't see you. I got to refer you somewhere else. Take these last 4 prescriptions of 90 Vicodins, 4 of them, and that'll get you to get into another doctor. So now by this time, I've been on these drugs like 8 months. 90 pills twice a month. Like, I go to the other doctor and we go in and sit down, and the dude's like, the pills are the problem. No more pills. Now, at this point, I can't open my eyes half the time. Like, I can't even, because the light, like sitting here, there ain't no way I could have did it. I had to lay in a dark room until it was night outside. And it was just crazy. So like at that point, I'm fighting with the doctors too over it. And so they cut me off, and the stepdad's like, "Yo, you can just take mine whenever you need it." They pretty much, and every night you would go get some from them. But I never went and got. I didn't like to go up there and get in his shit and get nothing because I didn't want to be accused. You know what I mean? I seen the way they did Carrie already. I already knew. So I started seeing this girl. They didn't like the girl. The girl probably wasn't good for me, but we partied all the time. We did a bunch of drugs together, and we was gonna put the kids and the families together, and they didn't want that. So all of a sudden, they made a big deal about like me stealing the pill, like I stole the pills, and like I didn't steal. I was taking them as they was prescribed to me. Still, like I was still taking them as they were prescribed to me. What had happened was they had went through my stuff, went through my room, and they found a powder residue on the dresser, and instantly he's hooked on drugs, which wasn't the case. I worked all the time and I enjoyed the party. Was I hooked? No. Did I still spend all the time with my kids? Do all the yes, but they left me an option of tell your kids you're a worthless drug addict, go to rehab, and all's forgiven. And to me, that wasn't an option. So we took the show on the road, left there. I had a battle with them. They ended up taking my kids. Uh, and when they took my kids, I had to get clean and sober. So I went through the withdrawals all by myself. Uh, got put on methadone because I couldn't. I kept relapsing because I was so sick. Lowest dose of methadone, and at that point, just had to wean myself off of all that. I don't really want to. I want to go into that later, though. Kind of.
Okay.
Well, no, we can talk about it because that wasn't even clean and sober. So like I weaned myself off the methadone and got off of it. Because at this point now, everywhere I go, everybody's like drug addict, drug addict, drug addict, drug addict. And I knew, like, look, I'm not a drug addict. Like, do I like to party and have fun? Yes. That's the only thing I've ever known. Since three, like it's all I've known. Like, I couldn't have fun without partying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like even hanging out with the kids or doing whatever, I couldn't do it without having some kind of. And it was like I would drink all the time, but I drink like a couple months straight, drink real heavy. Yeah, I wouldn't drink again for a year or 6 months. And the same way with drugs, I do them real hard for 6 months straight, and I quit for a year. And so that was always, but the opiates had me like they had me. So I got on the methadone and weaned myself off of that. And then I relapsed and had did some morphine. And after me and this girl did the morphine or whatever for like a week straight, there was no more of that. And the only thing you could find was heroin. And I had never done it. I mean, I had snorted it before back home, and I snorted with my dad even. So it wasn't like I was out there just snorting anybody's heroin. My pops had it. Dude, I did it with him. But the girl gets the heroin or whatever, and we do it. It's like you can do this little tiny line, and you feel like 3 times more fucked up than you did off the pills, and it lasts all day. Like so, you can buy a little $20 bag, get 3 or 4 little lines out of it, and you're good for 2 days, and that lasts about a week. And then after that, that $20 bag turns into a $40 bag. Then the $40 bag turns into a $140 bag. Then the $140 bag turns into a $240. And
Next thing you know, two of you are spending $600 a day.
right, like crazy numbers. And then so shit goes sideways. DCFS gets called. They want you to drug test. You can't drug test. You get caught with the fake urine in your hand. You tell them, fuck off, take this pee or don't take nothing. You go on the run so they don't take your kids. Like, I mean, shit can go sideways real quick doing with drugs. So I don't advise it. Like, I've seen it from every angle. I've seen it from the angle of wanting to sell it to make money. I've seen it from the angle of this is fun, recreational fun. I've seen it from hey, this is a full blown problem. Uh, Realizing it's a problem and changing it though is two different things. And then you got in all your trouble. You had all your trouble.
Before we get there, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So after me and this girl broke up or whatever, I went and got us put on Suboxone. We had broke up. She run off with some other dude, some younger guy, some boxing coach. It had me tore up. So I was still partying, but I got off of the opiates. I got completely off the opiates. And I didn't touch nothing for a while but weed. I just smoked my weed. But then they put me on where I had a drug test. So I couldn't do weed no more because weed stays in your system. And so I'm not on no mental health medicines because I don't believe in them after being addicted to all that stuff. So I can't smoke weed no more because I got to go drop for these people while I'm on bond. I haven't even been convicted of nothing. So like I'm not guilty yet, but I got to come pee in a cup for you. And I kind of blame this for like what went on next because after that it was okay, well I can't smoke weed. And as you can see from the shirt, I've always my drug of choice would be cocaine. So at that point, I reverted back to what I knew. It's like, okay, well, I can do coke and it's out of my system in 2 days. You see what I'm saying? So I would do coke all the time and then quit for a couple of days and go past my drug test. So it always become a cycle of trying to beat the system, not worried about getting caught, not worrying about somebody stealing or robbing you, not just craziness. Not worried about getting hit in the head because I can't get hit in the head no more. Just always drama. These people attacking you, these people attacking you. And you're letting all them spirits in yourself. Like every time you open up and do one or drink one, you're letting that shit in. And you're doing it with the wrong people. So, like, I started doing the coke or whatever. And I went back to West Virginia. I wanted to move us all there. And at this point, they were having an opioid epidemic in West Virginia. There was a lot of fentanyl killing a lot of people. Well, out here it wasn't fentanyl yet. It was still heroin, and it was a good heroin, real cheap. I ain't gonna lie. So I thought to myself, uh, hmm, you know, and I can remember calling you, uh, and I was at somebody. Your mother had taken me somewhere to try to help me make some money to get back home, and somebody that we were there with had got some of this heroin, and I told him it's not fentanyl. You gotta be careful. It's strong. It'll hurt you. You gotta just do a little bit. And your mom kept wanting, and I wouldn't give it to her. I wouldn't. I told them not to or whatever. But the people bought the heroin, and I ran somewhere with somebody else to make some more money. When I get back, your mama is dead. She has turned blue. They're breathing in her mouth.
I was on the phone with her.
Yeah, no, you was on the phone with me.
Well, when she died,
yes,
I was on the phone with her.
Well, it was crazy. And at that point, I realized I didn't never want to, because at that point, I wasn't using it no more. You see what I'm saying? I was just trying to, and I thought by taking this down there and it's not fentanyl, no way, you know what I mean? I thought I was doing it good. That's how, like, being fucked up can hinder your judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To even think that was good. So, with you being on the phone and that happening, and then we finally save your mom, right? They finally get some Narcan, they Narcan her. And like I'm freaking out. Your mom turns around and the people that breathed in her mouth, she steals all their stuff and runs off with all their stuff. And at that point I realized, like, nope, I'll never touch that again. Like, like that's just the devil. I'll never have nothing to do with it again. And I just prayed for your mom. And then I thought about what that might have put you through, like how hard that must have been for you. You know what I mean? And here I caused that. And you knew what I was doing. You knew where I was going. You knew what I was doing it for, but it didn't make it right. You know what I mean? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
I think, I mean, just going off this specific situation, for the pretty much all of my teenage years, I know hate's a strong word, but I hated my mom. I didn't want nothing to do with her. I told you all the time, you know, I just, I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want to see her. I blamed her for a lot of things. And that was the moment I, I realized I miss her. She's
Yeah.
and it changes your perspective on things,
Oh.
and it makes you want to help those people.
Yeah.
And it makes you because like for instance, there's family that won't talk to my mom. They don't want nothing to do with her, and for right
Oh
reasons.
yeah. No. No.
I
They have
mean,
every
when you've
right.
been stolen from and cheated off of
Right.
and accused of everything up and down the book, you have all right.
All right.
Um,
You know, I got a bunch of family that won't speak to me, so I understand.
I mean, yeah, same boat. But it's just one of those things where I realize that's not gonna help her. Like
No,
shunning her is
no,
not.
it's not. It's not.
Letting her know that people care is what's gonna do it.
Here's where I think people mess up on that. Okay, everybody. I was told tough love, tough love, tough. I got
Tough
so
love,
sick of hearing that shit. I wanted to punch everybody in the throat. Uh, yes, maybe at first. Maybe at first you need to cut them off. You need to. You see what I'm saying? Just to get them out of your affairs. Like, okay, for my situation with my wife, for instance, she robbed me blind, 11 grand. Like, I couldn't keep the lights on if you stayed. So I try to get you into a facility, into some place to reset, regroup, so we can then come back and address the issue, the actual issue. Because the actual issue isn't depression. The actual issue isn't anxiety. It isn't bipolar. It isn't somebody hurt me when I was younger. It isn't none of that. It is, like I said, it's a spiritual block. Like you don't have a relationship with the creator. And without that relationship, you're never going to feel fulfilled. And you're going to use something always to try to fulfill that missing element. Uh, what was crazy, like I know we probably won't get into it, but like the spiritual journey, I was in full blown drug use. I'm not gonna say addiction because I wasn't addicted. It was because the second all those things cleared up and God took that urge out of my life, it's like He hypnotized me. And I was praying earlier, and the only thing I'm really addicted to anymore is energy drinks and Black and Mounds. Well, and we know we're not giving up weed. Like me and him was done. That's just not going to ever happen, and he's cool with that. Like we've done.
Y'all pan that out.
We pan that out.
Okay.
But as far as the nicotine, he's told me that it's just going to be like he hypnotizes me one day, and I'll just throw it down and never touch it again. And that's what he's basically did with the drugs. You know what I mean? That's what he's did with the drugs. The energy drinks I'm working on. I'm down to like one a day, trying to be. But with the drugs, he's narrowed it down like that. And I can't even lie. There's been times since I've been clean and sober since all this has happened. I was working, and somebody's like, "Hey, you want a line of coke?" And I did a line of coke. I went and said, "I don't know, man." I went outside, I smoked a cigarette, I prayed about it, and God was like, "Fuck it, you're working. Go ahead. It ain't gonna hurt you." And I did one. Now that's not for everybody either, because some people
can just pick
some people can't pick shit up and just drop it and leave it alone. And so I'm not advising that for everybody. But what I am advising for everybody is if you have this spiritual journey and you got that relationship with God, and God carries you out of addiction, and He heals your heart and all the trauma, He's going to let you know what you can and can't do at that point. Like He's not going to let you be led down back to where you were. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, by no means necessary. I'll cut off everybody and everything before that happens, because then I'm not just letting my kids down or the people around me down or my community down. I'm letting the creator of everything down. And I just can't do that. Like, I just, you don't curse God, ask him for help, question every move he makes. And then when he teaches you and shows you, spit in his face. Like, you just don't do it.
Great.
But I don't think it's about, look, like I said earlier, however anybody gets sober, whether it's a 90-day program, it's NA, AA, whatever, my opinion is cultish behavior. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I think it is, because I don't think it treats the problem. I think
Masks
it masks it, gives it a cure, like cancer, or no cure, but it gives it a treatment. And if you really want to cure the problem,
Yeah, they
I
extract it.
think you got to battle your own ego. I think you got to have a spiritual battle, and God will pull you through it if you ask. But you got to be willing. And a lot of people, the problem is they're not willing to face all the shady shit they did. Like, I did a lot of shady shit. I'm blessed too, really blessed, because I might not be where I'm at if it wasn't for the brain injury. Uh, there's a lot of things my brain don't work the same as it used to. It's like some stuff that I might have done or some things that might have happened from before. I might not remember nothing about them until somebody says something about it. And then it's like somebody's digging through the file cabinet, picks the file up, and then it pops back into my head. So it's not like I remember all the shady shit I done until somebody brings it to my attention. So in that aspect, God bless me, because I might not have been able to live with what I had done, and I might never have came out of it either.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm also so humble and gracious with people who are struggling. Like, you see these homeless people out here that are struggling with mental health and spiritual health and drug addiction and whatever, and you're rude, mean to them, get a job, fuck you, this and that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Like, really. Like, you should look in the fucking mirror and ask yourself who the fuck you are. And that's just how I feel, like, because at any day anybody can be that person. Like, it don't take nothing. One loss of one family member uh could send you there.
One bad day.
One bad day. um there was an old movie, I forget, Michael Douglas. He was on his way home, he went nuts. I forget the name of the movie, but he snapped. If anybody knows the Michael Douglas movie, and he just went nuts and started killing everything in LA. And he's like a banker with the white button. He just snapped, lost it, and that can happen to anybody at any given time. You never know what anybody else is going through. So be gracious with them, and always try to be humble and gracious with them. It's a struggle for me all the time, but I try really hard.
Definitely. Before we go, I want to, I guess, touch on a different version of addiction. We talked about drug addiction and things like that. But other than wrestling, because that's my favorite thing to be addicted to, and I'll never let that go. What got me in trouble was stealing.
Right.
And I started stealing probably when I was 14, 15 years
Well,
old.
I'm gonna cut you off again, and that was me. That was my bad influence. Because I felt like I ain't got shit. Somebody's got to explain why I ain't got shit. My kids aren't going to not have what I didn't have.
And that's what.
And I would walk
that was
in
the
store.
conversation we had.
I would walk in the store and just take whatever the fuck I wanted and walk the fuck out with it. And you started doing it.
Yes, and
we started doing it even together. You know what I mean?
Well, and
you
it was to
17.
the point where we walk into a store and we wouldn't buy anything.
But we'd walk out with fucking $900.
$900 worth of stuff.
And we did it for years. And never got
Probably the reason there is metal detectors in Walmart.
That's God. That is God. That is God. And if you make me bring up my own groceries, you best damn believe I'm taking it. Was my attitude.
Yes.
So I agree with you there.
But I mean, it was one of those things for me that just got worse and worse. It started with an action figure, and then it'd be all
Well,
the DVDs. And
We're
then,
back to like earlier when I was talking about us doing the robberies or whatever when I was a kid. That was part of the adrenaline, the addiction,
yes,
and the drug dealing was the adrenaline. But then all that adrenaline and uh, euphoria you get from it becomes stress and trauma.
agreed. Well, I was getting there.
I know you was, and I'll let you go back. But I
But
just wanted to say that was me. That was on me too, and that's what my dad did. My dad did the same thing with me growing up. If we didn't have it, he got it, and it didn't make a fuck how he got it. He got it, and so that was my attitude.
can I continue?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. It got to be one of those things that it was just all the time thing. And then it's one of those, you brought up you was in West Virginia. I was alone ish. I had, friends living with us. Nate was there. Probably not the best people around all the time. And it was like stuff started getting notices like, hey, you're about to get evicted. Lights are about to get shut off.
And the reason why that happened was I was seeing this girl. And they didn't have cocaine in West Virginia. They had methamphetamines.
And gambling machines.
And those are the devil. The two together are the definition of the devil.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I win 10 grand, send you 5. Next thing you know, I done put my 5 back in and had you send me back 3 more. It was horrible. And you couldn't stop. Like no matter what you did, you couldn't stop.
And it was so bad.
It was so bad.
You would have me pissed off. I'd be ready to kill you.
Bro, look, I want to tell God and you and everybody that I'm thankful. Like I wouldn't be here. Y'all are my angels.
Mm-hmm.
You guys saved your father. Like saved my life, whether you know it or not. You really did. And then when you went to jail,
haven't got that far yet.
Well,
you let me get there.
I'll let you get there.
You gotta make a story, man. You can't
go ahead.
You cut me off and go into the end.
Go ahead. I won't go to the end.
You're the most spoiler alert.
No, I'm sorry. No, Jeannie is. Go ahead.
But thank you for the follow. But no, it just got to the point where it was like, what do you do? It's like, well, I know how to steal.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm climbing through doggy doors and windows and stealing silverware with all these friends of mine that I no longer associate with.
But no, y'all still every once in a while.
Every once in a while, but it's just one of those things that I found wasn't healthy, and I didn't realize it until I was in the middle of a pandemic. And still at first, I was in there like, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna do whatever. And it took. I don't think the realization of what I was doing hit me until somebody bigger than me decided they wanted to bully me and threw piss on me and treated me like a little kid.
There wasn't nothing you really do.
There ain't nothing you can do about it. No. There's a bunch of. I was in the jungle with a bunch of grown men, and they said, "You're still a kid."
Yep.
And they humbled me.
Yep.
Because you got my ass whooped, and then God sat me down, and I opened the Bible and started praying and reaching out, and that's whenever I realized, hey, this is not the right idea. And I got out homeless. You was still, I don't know, wilding out.
But at the same time, you before you got out, you were in there. I had went on the run because different factors
to keep your son safe.
Yes, what I went on the run to keep my son safe, to keep him away from somebody that might hurt him. And
ProWrestlingTees.com, Nate or Alex.
And at that point, I was ended up homeless in Florida in a tent, and we went through that. So I won't go back on it, but still partying.
Mm-hmm.
We go back to West Virginia. People stole my stimulus check. It's during the pandemic. I'm staying from place to place, to here to here. The police are trying to get me, like for definite sure. They showed up the second I got dropped off from somebody's house like they were told on me. I just went through a lot, and you went through a lot, but I had come back right before you had got arrested. And I was so in my own shit, I didn't realize what was going on. You know what I mean? Because I was on drugs. Like, I would have known better. You know what I mean? Sober me would have known better than the story I had got. You know what I'm saying? So
Continue.
um, I just think that with the drug addiction thing, like I said, it's a spiritual battle. That is a spiritual illness. That's the one thing I can say. I can say that people are cut off from the creator, and in being cut off from the creator, numbing those voices, tuning the creator's voice out, numbing that voice, male or female, whatever your higher power may be. I don't think it
Necessarily matters.
matters. I don't think God gives a shit.
Okay.
Just like I don't think God gives a shit whether I say shit or fuck or not.
Fair enough.
I think God's got bigger fish to fry. Uh, I just feel like once that voice is cut off and you start partying and everything else that like every teenager is expected to do. That's the thing when you're a kid. You know what I mean? That it's introduced at a young age, and I think that's all the enemy's plot uh, to tune down people's frequencies. I just think from the very beginning that's the enemy's attack method is that and indoctrinating your parents to then indoctrinate you into something like look, I'm not going to attack a religion, but religion even because it is a brainwave, it's dogma, and you're living with all that past trauma that you didn't even have nothing to do with. All them people killed in that book, you're living with that. Like all that stuff is piled on you. You take on all your parents' trauma, all their parents' trauma. It's handed down through DNA. It's scientifically proven. So to I think the enemy's game plan is to pile as much trauma on people and then flaunt their desires and temptations in front of them. And then once they sink in, then they latches in. And I just feel like everybody needs to come back from it. And the best way to get people to come back from it is to talk about it and to let people know too that there is coming back from it. You know what I mean?
Agree. And speaking of coming back from it, I think that's a perfect way to lead
Well,
into.
before we go, hold on.
Okay.
Let me find this here.
Well, while you're finding what you're doing, the next episode we did addiction this time will be recovery. We'll talk about the recovery process, what that's looked like for both of us, for both our perspectives, and we'll go down the road to recovery together. You got a verse for us?
I'm looking for it.
He's looking for it.
I forget which one.
While he's looking for it, I just want to say thank everybody for watching. Thank you guys in the chat, keeping us busy. Thanks for the new followers, subscribers. Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Okay, so in the book of Thomas, the Gospel of Thomas, verse 4, Yeshua said, "The man old in days will not hesitate to ask a small child 7 days old about the place of life, and he will live. For many who are first will become last, and they will come one and the same." Okay, so I just want to like get to what that means. He what he's talking about is asking a child about the place of life or about heaven, because the child hasn't been corrupted yet.
Okay.
You know, we were talking this whole time about our programming and how your parents might influence you or whatever. So what he's trying to say there is when you want to know about what's possible in life and getting rid of self-doubt or all that stuff, you got to go to things that most people would look at as borderline crazy. Do you see what, like, You can ask a child because a child haven't been corrupt. Their imagination is still crisp. They're still fresh. They're eager to learn. God wants to teach you, but He can't teach you if you already know it all. So what He's telling you is when you go through your spiritual battle, like there wasn't nobody else holding me accountable through the drug stuff. Like, you go to a rehab place or whatever, they tell you, hold your brother accountable. Bullshit. You have no right to hold me accountable. God holds me accountable. Or the police, if you fuck up enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But other than that, nobody's holding me accountable for shit. You know what I mean? God and the police. That's it. And so I just feel like with that verse, it went with today because it's telling you anything is possible. And if you will follow instructions, your spiritual battle ain't going to be easy. You're going to have to battle your ego and the darker side of your own self, the devil within, the demon within. You're going to have to battle those. But they'll all be put down if you have the faith of a child and the imagination to comprehend. You know what I mean? If you let the spirit in.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pops. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
Like I said, we'll be back.
I just pray it helps somebody in some way. I know we probably talked about, and like I said, I never really felt like I was addicted because I just love partying. So some people get that way, and then they find themselves in another situation where it can turn real quick. So just anybody out there that has got somebody in addiction, uh, always praying for you. We love you, and get better.
All praise to
Heal.
God.
Heal. All praise to God.
We'll see you guys next.